Welcome back to Kapp Tech. In Kapp Tech version 2.1, as in 2021, we're going to be examining mind-bending concepts about paradoxical and enigmatic shiznit. Being the first episode in our new series or sub-series, we'll tackle two such concepts today: the simulation hypothesis theory and the Mandela effect. We'll start out today first with the simulation hypothesis. The question of if we live in a simulated universe has been hotly debated since the Enlightenment. A modern hypothesis with very ancient roots. It posits that we're actually living in an advanced digital construct, such as a computer simulation that's overseen by some higher form of intelligence. It's basically the contemporary equivalent of Plato's allegory of the cave. Who's on board with this, you might ask? Just crazy Kapp? No, there are others, and I'm not 100% on board, by the way. Elon Musk of Tesla and SpaceX fame, now among the richest people in the world, has famously stated that the odds that we're not simulated are 1 in billions. To Musk's unique way of thinking, the strongest argument for the probability of our being in a simulation, as he put it in 2016, is as follows. 40 years ago, we had Pong, 2 rectangles and a dot. That is what games were. Now it's 40 years later. We have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously. And it's getting better every year. And soon we'll have virtual reality, augmented reality, etc. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, the games will become indistinguishable from reality. Astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson is quoted as saying that there's better than 50-50 odds that the simulation hypothesis is correct. He also said, "I wish I could summon a strong argument against it, but I can find none." And he said this to NBC News in an email. In the year 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom posted what he called a trilemma argument. However, despite the name, Bostrom's simulation argument does not exactly argue that we live in a simulation. Instead, the trilemma argues that one of 3 unlikely seeming propositions is almost certainly true. First, the fraction of human-level civilizations that reach a post-human stage, that is one capable of running high-fidelity ancestor simulations, is very close to 0. The second proposition is the fraction of post-human civilizations that are interested in running simulations of their evolutionary history or variations thereof is close to 0. Or 3, he's saying one of these 3 has to be true. The fraction of all people with our kind of experiences that are living in a simulation is very close to 1. The trilemma essentially points out that a mature post-human civilization would have enormous computing power. And if even a tiny percentage of these civilizations were to run ancestor simulations, that is, high-tech simulations of ancestral life that would be indistinguishable from reality to the simulated ancestor itself, himself, then the total number of simulated ancestors, or sims, in the universe or multiverse, whatever your pleasure, would greatly exceed the total number of actual ancestors. If so, simulation would most likely create perceptions of reality on demand rather than simulate all of the reality of all time. Much like a video game optimized to render only the parts of a scene visible to a player, maybe we can't travel faster than light, for example, because that would allow us to get to another galaxy or part of the universe that has yet to be programmed in this scenario. Here's a few random but recent examples from my own life that make me wonder if these might be paranoid and coincidental ramblings, but skeptics be damned. I'll share what tidbits of evidence have fallen on my lap here. Example A. I make plans for my friend in Austin, Texas to come up to Otto, Illinois, a little town of 20,000 or so. And then he mysteriously, like that day, sees a license plate holder from Otto, Illinois. I mean, this could be an amazing coincidence. I mean, he's 16 hours away by car, but anyway, possible evidence of the simulation hypothesis being true. Example B. So I've got this buddy. Let's call him Johnny Raincloud. Sometimes he has a few drinks, and then a few more, and randomly quotes a Saturday Night Live skit where Sean Connery goes on Jeopardy, and instead of therapist says, "The rapist, Alex." And then both Sean Connery and Alex Trebek just died at the same time. Super coincidence? Probably, but it could just be a rip in the Matrix. Next, let's move on to the second half of our program today and cover the topic of the Mandela effect. Now, the Mandela effect is a very unusual occurrence where a large group of people remember something differently than how it is actually recorded as occurring. Conspiracy theorists hypothesize that this could be an alternate universe, perhaps something to do with CERN or the hydrogen particle collider. Meanwhile, skeptics use this as an illustration of imperfect memory. Dateline 2010. This shared false memory phenomenon was actually dubbed the Mandela effect by self-described paranormal consultant, good work if you can get it, Fiona Broom, in reference to her inaccurate memory of the death of South African leader Nelson Mandela in prison in the 1980s, when actually he died in 2013 after serving as president of South Africa from 94 to 99. She claimed this was a memory shared by, and I quote, perhaps thousands of people. Scientists hypothesize that these are perhaps examples of false memories shaped by similar cognitive factors affecting multiple groups of people, and social and cognitive reinforcement of incorrect memories or false news reports and misleading photographs happens to influence the formation of memories. This can better be explained in examples, I think. So here's Kapp Tech's 10 examples of the Mandela effect. Number 10. False memories of genie Shazam have been explained as a confabulation of memories of actor comedian Sinbad wearing a genie costume during a TV presentation of Sinbad the Sailor movies in '94. Similarly named film released by the name Kazam in '96, featuring Shaquille O'Neal, and additionally in the '60s, Hanna-Barbera had a cartoon about a genie called Shazam. People have memories of Sinbad playing Shazam when in fact he never did. That one's tough. I kind of think I might remember that too, but obviously you can't prove it. That's the nature of the problem we're facing here. Weighing in at number 9. What could we possibly remember incorrectly about the Curious George books from childhood? Well, there's some debate about whether or not the character was illustrated with a tail. Many remember Curious George as having one in the books, but in reality, Curious George never had a tail. Mandela effect? Maybe so. Number 8, while still on the topic of children's literature, the Berenstain Bears. Wait, do you think we said that wrong? Many report the family name as spelled Berenstein with a E-I-N instead of an AIN, A-I-N. But no, they are actually the Berenstains. Always have been and probably always will be. Number 7, the Monopoly Man, also known as Rich Uncle Pennybags, ever the business tycoon. He was always dressed to the nines in his top hat and monocle. He did wear a monocle, right? Well, apparently no, he did not. Many of us just picture him that way in our alternate, or shall I say, Mandela effect-laden memories. Number 6. While even the most hardcore fans of the quintessential moment in Return of the Jedi remember Darth Vader as saying, "Luke, I am your father," that's actually not what he said. In fact, Vader said, "No, I am your father." So we're getting in the top 5 here. I know you guys are getting pretty excited, or at least that's the way I've chosen to remember it. No, I think you can apply it there. Anyway, number 5. Speaking of Star Wars, the droid C-3PO is a Star Wars legend, known for his gold figure. But if you remember C-3PO as being gold and gold alone, that's actually the Mandela effect hard at work. You see, the droid actually has a silver piece on his right leg, from about the knee joint down to his foot. Into the top 4 now. I'm starting to notice a trend that these are mostly my childhood memories, so maybe that makes them more susceptible to this effect or the appearance of this effect. Back to the category here of children's literature and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Who could forget the way that the evil queen says the phrase, mirror, mirror on the wall. She's a drag queen in my voice here, I guess. But that's not what the villain actually says. The actual line, believe it or not, is, magic mirror on the wall. 3, Fruit Loops is really spelled fruit, F-R-O-O-T, loops. Sidebar here, if we're going to give the kids some sugary cereal, shouldn't we at least teach them to spell the word fruit properly at the same time so they could at least... Anyway, number 2, runner-up, Forrest Gump brought a lot of attention to a delicious box of chocolates, and while most movie fans remember the quote as, life is like a box of chocolates, you never know what you're going to get, Gump actually says, life was like a box of chocolates. All right, number 1, if your mind's not blown yet, in another cinematic head-scratcher. In The Silence of the Lambs, how many times have you heard the phrase, hello, Clarice, spoken in a creepy voice? If you're at all interested in pop culture, probably a lot of times. But Anthony Hopkins never once uttered those exact words as Hannibal Lecter in the film. Thanks for watching Kapp Tech. Please remember to like, share, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Let us know what other mind-bending concepts you'd like us to cover next.